What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Talking Elite Fitness. I'm Sean Woodland with Lauren Khalil. Lauren, how you doing?
I am fantastic. How are you, Sean?
I'm good. It still looks like the capital of fall behind you, so that's good. I'm glad that you're staying cozy. And
it will be until after Thanksgiving, where we'll transition into Christmas.
There you go. After Thanksgiving, that's when that happens.
Stay tuned.
Correct answer. And featuring soon-to-be father Tommy Marquez. Tommy, how you holding up?
Good, just Panda Watch day 10. We're still waiting for this thing to come out. I keep going in for checkups. Everything's checking out great. We're just kind of, watching our watches and
fantastic.
Everything's packed. So
good. Got the bag good. Bags all set. Things. Everything's good to go.
Bags and snacks.
All right. Awesome. Got a lot to talk about today. But before we jump into everything, we want to thank our newest sponsor, and that is Kreatures of Habit. They will see you in health. Fantastic product that we all enjoy. You can scan the QR code on your screen there in the bottom to get 20% off. You can use our code. It's TEF. You're going to get 20% off. And these are high protein overnight oats that could not be simpler to make. If you saw our social media post that Tommy did where he did the breakfast speed run, it took him less than a minute to get this stuff ready to eat for the next day. Their oats have 30 grams of protein in them. They're plant-based. They have probiotics and prebiotics. They have omega-3 healthy fats. They're dairy-free, gluten-free, no GMOs, and they are soy-free, and they are delicious and convenient. So check them out. You can go to creaturesofhabit.com. You can use our code TEF, and you will save 20%. The maple. Man,
I think that one's my favorite.
I'm a huge fan of that one. But they got a bunch of, and they got peanut butter banana, solid as well.
Yep. Oh, that one's great too.
But if you're just looking for a healthy, fast meal, Creatures of Habit has you covered, man. Just put it in the fridge.
52 seconds, John.
Yep.
52 seconds.
52 seconds. Put it in the fridge the night before, wake up in the morning and eat it. Delicious. All kinds of great ingredients in it. So really happy to have them on board. They
come
awesome.
Individually wrapped too, so each serving. So I'm actually, you mentioned getting ready for our go bags. I actually have 2 packets of that in my go bag.
Smart man.
Along with the little overnight oats shaker bottle kind of thing that they gave us. So, the father's husbands don't get as many meals as the hospital does. So I'm going to make sure.
Yeah, you're on your own, bud. Yeah, you're
not on the meal ticket.
Glorified assistant when you're there. That's just do your job, hold that clipboard, and just be ready to go in at a moment's notice. That's all you got to do.
Exactly.
And you'll be fine. All right. Well, thanks to Creatures of Habit, creaturesofhabit.com, and that's creatures with a K, and use our code TEF. You will save 20%. All right. A lot to talk about today. First off, you want to look back first about what happened? We had a competition this past weekend at the Down Under CrossFit Championships in Australia. So live competition continues in the off season. Who wants to field that one? Amy Kringle for the women. Who was it for the men?
There were some fun highlights coming out of Down Under. I mean, the pairs competition was cool. You had some big name athletes competing on the pair side. I think it's noteworthy and it's exciting. I think from the development side that a team of Con Porter and James Newberry didn't even make the podium.
Wow.
They finished 4th.
Dang.
Also, their team name is Change, which I love. I'm sure there's a message behind it, but it feels like, I don't know, like when Prince would change their name, to like something as far as like Meta World Peace. Like when Ron Artest changed his name to Meta World Peace.
Remember that basketball player, World Be Free?
Yeah. I'm just going to be Change. Yep. But Ricky's team.
I think I know what the message there is if their name is Change.
Yeah. Ricky and Aniol took down the top. Jake's at work. Great name. Couldn't hold on. And then another training culture team with individual qualifier, Callum Clements on the men's side. The elite women, Julia Hannaford, who came onto a lot of people's radars from the opening week, first week of the Open this past year.
Seems like forever ago.
Gosh, that feels like a lifetime ago. Yeah, she won alongside Charlotte Baldwin. I'm trying to think I don't think anything was surprising on the elite individual side. Peter Ellis, who was the qualifier out of this region last year, one ahead of Ben Fowler. Ben and Luke Fowler, the Fowler brothers, have been kind of two young up-and-comers from that region for a while. Gone team. People are kind of waiting for them to make the next step as individuals. Royce Dunn's still holding it down in 5th, but I think Amy Kringle, the women's podium of Amy Kringle, Jessie Smith, Christina Lividatakis, who I want to say has competed out of South Africa.
I think you're right. And she's been around for a while. That's a name that sounds very familiar.
Nothing crazy. I think Linda Kiesman finishing 2nd, like, oh, okay, games qualifier, maybe a little bit lower. Mm-hmm. But this is the point in the season where you never really know where someone's fitness is at. They could be at different crossroads of like, just chilling out, haven't worked out in a couple weeks. But cool to see.
Or doing online qualifiers back and forth too.
Yes, that's the other part. Yeah, multiple online qualifiers in a row. Yeah, Amy Kringle. Yeah, Amy Kringle and Jessie Smith winning though. Hats off to our 1st and 2nd. Hats off to them. I think that's pretty cool to see some well-known names on top of the leaderboard.
Well, up next, we have the Rogue Invitational in a little more than 2 weeks. Can't wait for that. Some cool stuff has been coming out on that, and they had tickets are on like for sale now. Like they are already for sale, but I think you can buy like single day tickets now as well. They posted that on Instagram, but this is a thing that's got some people talking. Is that looks like Carolyn Prevost, if I'm not mistaken.
It is.
Yes.
Okay, that's her. All right, doing what looks like a horizontally, if you're not watching this, a horizontally mounted pegboard. Now, I don't know if this is going to show up or not, but it says coming soon, which would lead one to believe
I think that it would show up.
They're going to debut this at the Rogue Invitational. They've debuted stuff like they had the log. Remember, they did like muscle ups on the log. They really, the equipment is more a story at the strongman competition because they did, the Roga coaster and the Tower of Power and the iron bull and all that stuff that they had. But this looks like it could be kind of fun.
Yeah.
New implement.
I love it. It feels like a beefed up version of something you would see at like an obstacle course race. Usually it involves some sort of like lateral traversing with some grip heavy movement, but this one like taking a piece of like a pegboard, something that we use quite a bit, and adding that kind of creating their own little flair and making something somewhat unique of a challenge. I like it. It's cool. Personally, for me, like I think I'd have to try it and see it, but for this one, I would wonder if what the rules are, if it's just get from point A to point B, that may matter, or if you have to follow a path, if there's like a marked out path.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's going to be point A to point B.
Because point A to point B.
What do you think something like this would be paired with?
Good question.
Like, do you think that they could put it in an obstacle course? Because the format of the field is different.
Yep.
Possibly. I mean, yeah, I think they could. They had that event where they had the killer cage and they ran the hill that was out in center field. So something like that.
Yeah.
Could be like an up and back chipper. I don't know. I just think it's going to be, I think it's a cool little spin on something that we've gotten so used to going up and down. Why can't we go to side to side now? So it's like, it's not I think it's a cool just variation on what is, like Tommy was saying, is a commonplace thing now.
Well, I like the up and back chipper idea. So it's not like all out sprint, but maybe something that you do have to do it there and back. You cover it twice. What's interesting though is doing some of the sideways stuff. Unless you have to like go high or go low, from what I recall, doing some of the like obstacle course race stuff that you go and do like a training session or whatever when they as a group. It's like a Groupon deal we've done before.
Yeah.
Weird things that only we would do. Unless you have to like elevate or lower, there's no real need to have to like create that like bent arm or like pulling motion from it. You can kind of hang and just sideways.
Do you think it's easier that way?
For some, I mean, from My orangutan arms, yeah, absolutely. I don't want to be flexed here.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to like
Me
pull my
neither.
own body weight up on a pegboard. I would much rather be at full extension, like changing the reducing the total impact on my muscles and just kind of swanging, you know?
Could you like, I'm like trying to play this out. Could you do like
Swanging.
sort of, I guess that wouldn't work. Like if you did like sort of a cross and like, I don't know what the tip, right. I guess you're just going to like shuffle down, but
Yeah. The faster
I
thing
hope they have to go back and forth though, because I'm sure there's going to be some athletes that can only go in one direction and really struggle the opposite
I'm sure
way,
they will.
you know what I
I'm
mean?
guessing like maybe it's like you go down one way, then you go off and you run, do something else, and you come back and you go back the other way. Like every time you
opposite
encounter
way,
that thing,
yeah.
you got to go. You have to go across it. But
yeah,
that's cool.
I imagine the faster way is to do it with bent arms like that, and that's not really an issue for any of these elite athletes.
Yeah.
So, but it just, I'm thinking about like us trying it at home, and also what are the rules are in terms of like, do you have to use, if you go there and back, do you have to use the same set of pegs, and where you leave them is where you pick off? Because like you could like get halfway through, a quarter way, 3/4 of the way through, and just swang and like get to the other side.
Yeah, there's got to be a line you got to get past. Like there's got to be a line. Like they have to do that just to make it just like they would with a rope, like hands below the, and then you're good. Okay, another cool thing that's going on is that they are bringing the their Iron Game premium coverage back. So if you pay $25, you get access to all premium streams and features, including the Iron Game tailgate show. So that's the behind the scene things that they've done, like kind of it's based on, I think, the Manning Cast is that kind of feel. For those of you that don't know what the Manning Cast is, it's an alternate Monday Night Football broadcast where Peyton and Eli Manning sit and watch the game and bring in guests, and they have their own commentary. Similar type feel. It's been depending. I mean, they're going to have some pretty good guests. I'm guessing it's always going to be an entertaining time, and there were some really good moments at the last Invitational, especially with the Buttery Bros that were hilarious.
Is Pat Sherwood hosting again? Do we know?
That I'm not sure of. I don't have that confirmed. I wouldn't be shocked if he was.
Yeah.
So
that's cool though. I mean, it also, like you mentioned the Manning Cast, but also the College Football National Championship always does a mega cast where they get all, what it's super cool is they get all the coaches from the different conferences in a room together to commentate as well. So you get all these different coaches rooms, which would be fun. You know, I think an idea that they're building off of here to get all these experts and other people in the field to be able to commentate and you know, change the pace of what the, you know, the live coverage looks like, which it was cool last year, and I'm excited to see what they do here in Scotland.
Well, they're going to have Iron Game, the tailgate stream mentioned that. They're going to have a VR control room. So this is new. All new VR control room for 2024, an immersive streaming experience that puts you in the best seats in the arena. Enjoy the action from multiple VR camera angles, or seamlessly switch between live views to customize your experience for each event. Watch the way you want, whenever you want. So my guess is, since that's a VR control room, is that if it's immersive, I'm guessing you might need a headset for that, like an Oculus or something. Or maybe not.
Probably.
Maybe you can still watch it on flat screen as well. But that'd be really cool if they had that, because those things do exist. They've met, like other sports have messed with that.
Yeah, absolutely. NFL does it. NBA does it. You see their like VR setup that they have in certain areas of the floor. I'd also be curious if they do have it set up to where if you don't have a VR, it presents like a flat camera angle and you can just click between, because that's part of what the VR experience is. You get control of the movement of the cameras, or not necessarily the movement of the cameras, but where you go coverage wise. Yeah,
and they got the live chat interaction. And an exclusive Scotland tee. Oh, that thing looks sweet.
I love that tee. Cool. I want one of those.
Shut up and take my money.
Exactly.
Yeah, no lie.
All right. I'll try to bring you guys back one.
Ooh, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, get us a little
You
souvenir.
can rewatch premium streams too. Yeah, all right. I'm sure those things will be a hot commodity. I'll try to get there if I have time.
Get them when you get in early.
I'll try to. Yeah, first thing over, I'll go raid the Rogue tent. So
that's like last year. I had friends from my affiliate texting me about the Rogue Crocs, and like 3 of my friends had me get them for them, and we still wear them. I wore mine to the gym today.
Yes.
Yep. I want that Scotland tee and then a bottle of Bruichladdich Octomore.
I probably can do the first. I'm not sure about the second, but
it's a very nice bottle of scotch.
Who knows?
You never know.
Okay. Who knows what's going to happen? But really, I'm really excited about it, because in a world where, and this will kind of segue us into like what we're going to talk about a little bit later, but in a world where it seems like people are paring down coverage, taking things away, and you're not doing what we're used to seeing in a lot of these bigger events, it's nice to see Rogue still being out there being like, oh, no, we're going to push the envelope. We're going to give you more. We're going to do this at a high quality. And I'm so excited for it. I think it's just going to be a really cool event.
And the key has been pushing the envelope in ways that people actually want to see it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like people
because they listen to feedback.
Yeah, people have talked about different ways of providing like second screen coverage or additional like bonus type coverage. People have talked about, hey, what would it look like to run major events and moving like locations, even going over to Europe and tapping into different historically relevant pieces as far as the locations are concerned. And, obviously Scotland's an awesome choice for that, for both the strongman point of view as well. But, even the VR, like that's, the innovative type coverage that we're seeing in major sports, that they're taking the ball and leading from the front. I think it's super cool. I wish I had a VR. Actually, I might have access to a VR headset. It'd be fun to test it out and see what it's actually like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Have you ever used one of those Oculus headsets?
Oh my gosh, they're awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I tried one at Justin Medeiros' grandfather's house.
Oh,
yeah, he had gotten one from the Rogue Invitational.
How did you get there?
This was a couple years ago. I think it was after the first year that he won, first or second year after he won the games, and what was the year that we had the RV? Was it 20?
Yeah, that was the first year that he won.
Yeah,
so his family was like two RVs over from you.
Right,
guys.
they were hanging out. They befriended my wife because they helped my wife break into our own RV because it got locked and they became pretty tight. And then and I think one of the members of their family is in law enforcement, or there was like a connection there.
Yeah.
And they live like down and close to Morgan Hill / Gilroy area. So they invited us over and it was fun. And he had just gotten one of those. And so I played like a Rocky boxing game and a ping pong game. And it was pretty awesome. So
fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
That sentence you started with sounded like a Mad Libs.
Yeah.
Like I played Oculus VR with Justin Medeiros at his grandparents' house.
Oh, yeah, it was fun. It was a good time.
I tried one and I don't remember which brand it was, but it was like this game where you're like, you start and it's a completely white room and there's a weapon in front of you. And the minute you grab the weapon, you're thrown into like a polygonal like room where there's not like detail, but just everything like polygonal shapes. And in the room are enemies either throwing objects at you, shooting at you, and the rate with which they attack you is directly proportionate to how fast you move.
Oh.
So if you move slow, you can the bullets slow down and you can dodge them. Cool. And then grab it and throw your stuff and move really quick so your bullets get to them quick. And it's like super trippy, but it's hilarious to watch someone from the outside do it because you have no idea what they're doing.
I know I look like an idiot with that thing on in the middle of his, just like swinging it, a phantom ping pong ball. And they're like punching somebody. It was funny. Yeah. Anyway, we digress. One last thing we want to get to before we get into our big topic of conversation is that, hey, if you're looking for a job, CrossFit's hiring. This is their page on LinkedIn. They've got a project manager. This is the interesting one to me because they're looking to hire a project manager to join the sport team. You will oversee and manage projects from initiation to completion. The primary objective of this role is to support the successful planning, coordination, and execution of the CrossFit Games season and special projects. Key duties include budget tracking, CrossFit Games on-site administrative coordination, and event and reconciliation. This role requires leading cross-functional teams. How many times do you read that in a job description? Cross-functional teams. Ensuring adherence to timelines and budgets, managing risks, and communicating effectively with all stakeholders. They also have a digital marketing job, a business development representative, a back-end engineer, some software stuff there. But the project manager was the one that caught my eye.
A lot of jobs.
Yeah, the project manager was the one that caught my eye because I think I've seen some people like, oh, they're getting rid of Dave, so this is Dave's position. That's not Dave's position. This is more of like reminds you of what Justin Berg kind of did.
Yeah, I would even say like other people are in that area, like our good buddy in front of the show, Wilson Tang.
Yes.
Who does a lot of like behind the scenes work.
That guy does everything.
When boots are on the ground during the competition, but like, doing very like day-to-day management stuff.
That's a good
outside
point.
Of the sport.
Wilson needs help, man. Every time I see him at an event is just up to his eyeballs and all kinds of
just
stuff.
Pinned.
And get stuff done too, man. He is awesome.
That's why we nicknamed him President Tang.
Yeah, President Tang, man. He's got stuff done. But it's interesting that, and we're going to talk about this in a second, but and I just mentioned it, where it seems like everything is contracting from the sports side, that they are actually adding people to try to help.
Yeah. I mean, and I guess what it really comes down to is from a bodies and salary standpoint, how much have they contracted? And as a result, how have they rearranged those roles to then expand with the ones that we're seeing here, right? Like, are these, we've heard about some layoffs after the games, which is not uncommon. Did they lay off 5 and they're hiring 2? And they're like, you know what, we need to get rid of these people, and we're going to condense these roles and kind of make them a little bit more fleshed out, because, there were people there that just weren't really doing anything. So it's maybe they're just trying to be a little bit more efficient. I mean, it happened every year that we were there, a lot of seasonal workers, a lot of people, then there would be evaluations and assessments, and then, a lot of stuff would get trimmed. But yeah, I would just be curious to know, relative to the roster of people that we knew worked there this past season, where do these roles fit in?
Mm-hmm. So who's been doing the jobs of that role if it hasn't been filled?
I think it's been a multiple people. And like Tommy said, Wilson Tang, I think, like, if you ask me what Wilson Tang did, I'd just be like, he does everything. He does, like, I know he's in charge of like booking hotels and logistics on the ground. Like, you name it, like he's involved. And so my guess would be
interesting, because that's like an operational position.
Yes, but he's also involved in like a lot of day-to-day stuff. So this may be something to where, and total guess, but that if he is kind of bleeding into other roles, that it's like, we're going to hire someone to do this so you can focus on this stuff. But anyway, I just thought it was interesting. You see those posted, and it's clear that at the very least, there's going to be a season next year.
Yeah. Right? Well, and it kind of depends on how I guess CrossFit's always run a little bit differently, but for some people, project manager does fit on the operation side, right?
Yeah.
You're just the one that making sure everything gets done.
Yeah.
And so maybe they're getting some help on that side, but yeah, I think there's a lot of carryover between the two, particularly with how CrossFit has run in the past.
Mm-hmm. Well, listen, if you want a job, go to LinkedIn, check out CrossFit, go ahead and apply. They're looking for people. Okay. Those are our headlines.
I will say this. What Lauren just said, this is the quietest time of the year for the sports side. So,
no doubt.
In theory, you could skate by, delegating stuff to people in the interim. So like a lot of the operation stuff and a lot of the project management stuff, unless you're trying to, like, usually right now, this is where they're taking stock of, like, do we fulfill sponsor obligations? Is there stuff we still have to put out? How do we start to look forward to next year a little bit? I mean, from the operation side, a lot of the regional venues and event venues were already booked at this point anyway. So this was typically the down point where it's possible.
Right, but if that job title is a bunch of stuff that Justin Berg used to do, he's been gone for over a year at this point.
More than that. Wait, has it been? It has been. Yeah.
Right, because it was after semifinals last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep. And that's and again, that sounds like some of the stuff that he did, and he was really good at a lot of that stuff. But I don't know. It was one of those things that caught my eye, because all the speculation is, and obviously we're gonna talk about that here in a second, is about making things smaller, contracting things, not putting as many resources into games. Yet you're still looking for someone to organize all this. So it was just an interesting thing that I thought I would throw out there, because those two seem to be kind of counter to one another.
And you could argue that since he left, that some of those roles didn't get filled, and some of those responsibilities didn't get filled, and that a lot of balls were dropped in between.
That's a very good point. Yeah.
So,
all right. Well, we'll see. We'll see who gets hired for that. Maybe it's someone we know. Maybe it's somebody new. Who knows? I know I would love to see someone come in from like another sport who's kind of dealt with this to sort of bring that outside perspective on, hey, this is what works here. But Who knows what they'll do? Okay. Those are our headlines for today. Let's get into now our next thing that we want to talk about. And before we do that, we want to thank our other sponsor for today, and that is Thirdzy, the nighttime collagen protein drink that is absolutely going to change for the better your sleep and your recovery. This has no melatonin in it. It's not habit forming. It has GABA, L-theanine, magnesium, a bunch of ingredients that when you take it at night are designed to help calm your central nervous system so you fall asleep more quickly and you stay asleep longer and you wake up feeling good. I love this stuff. I say it all the time, but it's one of those things that's like whenever you find a product that makes this big of a difference, it's kind of like when we started CrossFit. We want to tell everybody about it because it's been so awesome. Like this is how Thirdzy is.
Sip the Kool-Aid.
It is.
Sip
It has
the
made a
Thirdzy.
gigantic difference in my sleep. And I'm not kidding with that. Like I don't get enough. Like I still go to bed a little too late, wake up too early, but the sleep that I am getting is of much higher quality. And I wake up feeling much better than I used to. Like I used to wake up around 6 being like, oh, I can't. Now I'm like, yeah, all right, time to go. Let's go. It takes me a second, but check them out. Thirdzy.com. That's THIRDZY.com. Use our code TEF. You will save 20% and you will absolutely improve your sleep and your recovery. And you're going to love drinking this stuff too, because it's like a nice little treat at night.
It is.
And these also have the individual travel packs as well.
Which I hope are in the bag, Tommy.
Yes.
Put those,
in the bag.
in the hospital to go bag. You and Pip are going to need them.
I am 100% going to need it sleeping on whatever like IKEA ottoman they give me to sleep on.
They had like a little like
lucky.
rubber couch that like folded out a little bit. Like it wasn't terrible. I think knowing how you can sleep in like an airplane for 9 hours, you'll be fine.
Yeah. This will definitely help. It's the way it works is very gentle. So I fit it right into my routine, make a cup of Thirdzy, pull out the phone, put on the blue light glasses, start playing New York Times Connections, Wordle, all the games, then, brag to your friends about them by sending you results. And then by the time you're done, walk over to your bed and you're out.
Thirdzy.com.
There.
TEF. That's the code. 20%. You will thank us and you will feel better. Okay, big thing we wanted to talk about today, and this has been talked about elsewhere. I was watching earlier before we came on, didn't have a chance to see the whole thing, but I know the guys on the Barbell Spin were talking about this. I know Coffee Pods and Wads have talked about this, and it has been something that has been sort of floating around in the ether for a while. And since we are in that slow time and there's really nothing more to talk about and we're kind of barreling towards next season, it's like it's coming, is that there's the possibility of some sort of like online, like the whole season, is going to be online leading up to the games. So it would be like open quarterfinals, semifinals, then games, but all those qualifying stages would be online. And that is, I don't think you need to, like, all you got to do is just look at the trajectory of what has been happening over the past couple of years to lead you to this conclusion, even if you had heard no talk about it. And that is, first off in 2023, it started with semifinals where they said, okay, we're not going to stream every event. We're going to have one competition floor. We're going to mix it around. There were some reasons why that didn't quite work out because of the venues that they picked as far as like saving money, but it was clear they were starting to pull back. Then this year, partners ran the events. So CrossFit wasn't running them and they did not stream every day. So what's the logical next step? It's either it's like this stuff continues to contract. So I could see why you would make the leap that this is going to go all online. And I don't know how that's a good thing.
It's not. I mean,
and the only thing I can think of is that they'll let more people into semifinals, like more people have a chance to compete.
But there's already such high criticism with the systems that we have online when it comes to the accuracy of the judging. And I mean, even now with Dubai recently, somebody cheating, like it's just adding more controversy that the sport doesn't need, that the athletes don't need, that it rips away almost all the professionalism. And not even like, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Think about all of the financial opportunities that people in the ecosystem now don't have if you're in person. Sponsors missing out on all those opportunities. Content creators that go there and they shoot the athletes. They activate training camps that go there and activate athletes. I mean, you can have the earning opportunities online, but it's still not the same as in person. It just, to me, this cripples the ecosystem if you only have the CrossFit Games in person. I don't think people are going to support that if it happens. I think there will be some, but I don't think that a lot of the big names will.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's going to be crazy to say that it'll be extremely divisive, but like even just from the crack, like first crack, do you have full faith in CrossFit running an entire season that's only online, given their ability to handle stages of online competition in the past 2 to 3 years?
Last year they announced that they could only do one video review, and you're going to qualify people for the CrossFit Games through that?
Yeah, so that right there, okay, that's a major mark, right? So in past years, in the last year, they've cut back resources significantly. They've also admitted via their own process that they don't have the manpower or resources to fully turn over every stone to make sure that the stages of the season that are online are administered and regulated correctly, right? Or at least to the degree that inspires confidence around, the right people are getting through. And then now you're saying, oh, well, actually, we're just going to have more of that in lieu of the stages of competition that were pretty cut and dry in terms of like athletes get to be on the floor. You get to see what happens in real time. You get the feedback, you get the leaderboarding, you get all of those kind of like tactile experiences that inspire and build, the storytelling throughout the year. And that's on the heels of a season that left just probably the worst taste in anybody's mouth that the sport has had in its existence. Yeah, like it's and here's the thing. They may be handcuffed to the point where they have to do this, right? They may not have a choice for financial reasons and for, the at the behest of the decision makers and owners of the company. Like it may be that's the ultimatum. You got to do this or you don't run the sport, given what's going on.
And I think that's probably the most likely explanation for this whole thing, because at the end of the day, private equity's job is to drive value to their investors. John Woolley talks about this all the time, and I think he's right on. They're going to do what's best for the bottom line. And what's best for the bottom line is to not spend that money on the semifinals, still charge people for the open, still charge people for the quarterfinals. Maybe you got to pay a registration fee for the semifinals if they let more people in. The justification would be that's going to help offset the cost for the judging that we need to judge these tapes and to watch everything. And now it makes your bottom line look better, which makes a sale more possible.
Yeah. But does it if it ultimately is going to kill the sport?
If it makes you more profitable, yes, absolutely.
But if the sport goes away, then
the sport isn't going to go away. It'll just be run differently. It might be with fewer people.
I don't think the methodology will go away, but I think that if this is the system they're changing to, I think the future of the sport is absolutely in question.
As long as it's making them money, I don't think it matters.
Yeah, but that's but the question is, how long will it make them money for?
That I don't know. That's a very good question.
2, if this is ultimately a way to drive a more advantageous bottom line profile for them to just offload this in a sale, right? If they're going to sell the company, then they don't care if it's profitable long term or if the sport survives long term. It's not their problem once someone else signs on the dotted line. So what that really does is that either forces the new ownership to either figure out, do we continue on this path? Probably not. All right, well then how do we reset here in a way that's anyway beneficial to the athletes in the sport that, is supposed to be entering close to year 20 in another few years here?
God, that's true, man.
That's
nuts.
And you're trying to reverse the downward spiral of bad decision after bad decision after bad decision. We've had 6 seasons in consecutive order where some aspect of the structure has changed significantly, affecting how both athletes navigate the season and qualify for the CrossFit Games. And I would argue that maybe only one of them the switch back to semifinals in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
But even then you had to do some online because we're still dealing with the back end of COVID. So maybe 2022 where people felt like, all right, this is back to something where we're a little bit more predictable and we're ready to go. But even then people were still questioning quarterfinals. But yeah, it's, it feels like CrossFit's like hands are tied. They have to do this and they're doing it to try and save face for whatever way they can so they can offload the company, sell it, wash their hands of it. Hopefully whoever takes it over has good intentions and can make something out of it. That's what it feels like to me. How do we make this good enough to where we can get out? And honestly, like it's we used to say this all the time, Sean. It's like the South Park election episode between a giant douche and a turkey sandwich, right? It's like, okay, well, it's like, all right, we go to this all online format, and which basically means we're bottom line focused. We don't really care if people sign on, great, helps our bottom line. It's not going to be great for the sport, but if people don't, then the sport's going to die. And we either continue to set the bar lower and lower, or we let the sport die, or you hope that someone has enough resources, has a big enough backer to maybe create a competitor to this. And at that point, I don't know if CrossFit would fight them.
I don't think they would. So let's talk about that for a second, because that's the next place I wanted to go with this. Is that this takes me? Go ahead, Lauren. You had something to add to that?
No, I'm just wondering what about the scenario that, okay, it doesn't all go online and instead the competitions take ownership similar to the sanctional season? Is there a realistic possibility for that?
I think, I think there would be, because again, as long as CrossFit's not footing the bill for that, and they can find a way to make.
But do these competitions have enough money to do that?
Well, that's the issue.
The issue is that, well, they can put on a competition. All right. But are they going to have like a live stream? Are they going to have coverage? That I don't know. But they could put on an in-person competition to where, like it was with the sanctionals, where you had these events that were, hey, we're a sanctioned event, come and you could win our event. You're going to qualify to the CrossFit Games. And that could maybe run in that space. Those events could run in that space between quarterfinals and the games. You could even start it. You could even start it after the games, where the sanctional season starts, and you can try to earn a qualifying spot. Or if you want to compete through the season, you can go to the Open and all that stuff too. I don't know how that. I mean, I guess it gives you an in-person element.
Yeah, that's ultimately what's going to be tough, right? And Lauren brings up a great point, because the sanctional season, we did a full year of it in 2019. There were the initial buy-ins from event organizers, right? The ones that were really well established ran better events. There were some that were lesser established or created just for the sake of being in this new event that offers a ticket to the games. And I don't think, because all of that came to a grinding halt in 2020, we actually got to see the long-term effects of what this system would do in terms of viability for these events as businesses. I know for a fact that a lot of these were not financially viable.
No.
And that they were just kicking the can down the road from an eventual folding from, however many we had, 25, 30 sanctionals at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't have been surprised if half of them were gone the following year or 2 years down the road, like less than a 50% retention rate, because the reality was that you only get one games ticket. Athletes are going to place their chips where it's most advantageous to them. They're going to spread out. You're going to have maybe 2 to 3, maybe 4 athletes with some sort of games pedigree. You might maybe get a few more if you throw some incentives away to get them out. And is that going to fill stadiums, sell tickets, fund a live stream?
Probably not.
No. And you have to take into account the money market at that time too. Like were these companies taking out banknotes that were lower interest rates back then?
Definitely.
Was money cheaper?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So
it's
tough.
This is the point I want to bring up, because I think it was Tommy brought up a competitor, And this goes back to the PFAA and the demands and all that stuff. And when we had Brent and Pat on asking like, okay, well, what if CrossFit says we're not doing any of this? What do you guys do? And they said that, there are an alternate plan that they're working on. Now, to me, that means different league, different season, competitive. And I think the people are out. I've always said this: the people are out there. If you got them in the room to make something like that work, it's just a matter of you got to find the funding for it, and you have to have a business plan and all that stuff that's beyond what I would know how to do. But like that's all got to exist. But it would seem like if that were going to happen, this would be the time to do it. Because I think, I speak for most people when I say that most people would prefer fewer online competitions and more in-person opportunities to compete. And if somebody can offer that and there's, financial incentive to join that league, why wouldn't they? I mean, it goes back to the example I always use is Live Golf and the PGA Tour. PGA Tour was just a juggernaut.
Great example.
They had a monopoly. They could do whatever they wanted. It didn't matter because there's no other viable opportunity for professional golfers to go and make real money. And then Live Golf came around and said, hey, over here, we're going to do 54
we
holes.
Have real money.
We're going to do, we'll let you wear shorts. We're going to have crazy, like, come on over here. We'll pay you a ton.
There's going to be music and DJs at our event.
And all of a sudden the PGA Tour was like,
wear shorts.
Yeah. The PGA Tour was like, wait a minute. And then and it was something that seemed impossible is now what has happened. They have merged because they never had competition. I'm not saying that's what happens here, but it does seem like the time is right for it.
Yeah. And
if there's financial backing, there's definitely
problem.
enough intelligent people that could make this happen, and people who I think have the right intention and could really see this through. But if you don't have the funds, then it's just a great dream.
Yeah.
Well, that's where, you have to be very cautious with the comparison too, right? Because like the Saudis had unlimited funds. They were throwing $100 million contracts to like people that had never won a major
Mickelson
before.
Went over, right? Like, didn't Phil Mickelson sign with them for like a bunch of money?
Oh yeah. He signed a big one, and they started team golf. But more importantly, like it also drove really important policy change on the PGA side. It forced them like different restructuring on like bonus structures and appearance fees and all like PGA signature events where everyone that makes the signature event gets a payout. So these guaranteed paydays and all these things that are still very new, but were driven by the fact that suddenly you had a competitor that was throwing real money around. And when PGA is like, we've got the history and the tradition, and then all the Live golfers are like, I'm on the coolest private jet in the world, drinking champagne in shorts, going to go play 54 holes of golf instead of 72.
Yeah.
And I have generational wealth. And they're like, those guys are having a lot of fun. Wonder what? Maybe if we're trying to grow the game, we have to step up. We can maintain the traditions, but maybe take a little bit different look. And that's what I hope this is in the card somewhere. Like Lauren said, there's plenty of people that can do that. Like we talked about it before, I would get all of the biggest camps, the biggest coaches, the biggest athletes, the biggest managing companies for all the biggest managers and athlete handlers in the space, get them together, talk to all the major brands, figure out something. Can we get aligned on something, on some baseline format? I would go do whatever I can to get all of the. I mean, you could extrapolate financial numbers relatively close with just some back of the napkin math. I think from 2015 to 2018. Map that out, show the growth potential that it had there.
You're talking about the CrossFit Games season.
What?
You're talking about using the CrossFit Games season as an example.
Yes.
Okay.
Like when everything flowed because from 2015 to 2018, outside of combining two regionals, the structure of the season stayed the same for the most part. And so you say, hey, when things were the same, we were able to build this growth, just from a revenue standpoint, generate this type of revenue. And the end result from with eyeballs, engagement, everything like that, this money was on the table. And if you can get access to the CBS and Facebook contracts that were on the table that you showed, this was the money that was very much real. This like Someone offered us this.
Would you?
There's the potential.
Would you do that? Like, let's say you Tommy, you run Prestige Worldwide, and you're going to do this thing, and you're like, okay, I'm going to do an open. I'm going to have a whole online competition for everybody. I've learned from what went wrong over here and how to run it properly or run it a little better. And we're going to implement some of those review changes and things here to make it more appealing to everyday athletes to know that they're going to be like, hey, it's going to be fun. It's going to be just like the open. We're going to have a leaderboard. Then you go to like you qualify out of that to like a live series of events. And I would keep it, 5 or 6 at the most. You don't need to go too big, too fast here. That seems doable. And then those qualify to a championship event. Like that seems, because I think in 2021, had they just gone back to open regionals games, I think people would have been just fine. But they added quarterfinals because they were trying to make more money. Yeah, just hit the reset button. That I thought they kind of overcomplicated it. Just hit the reset button.
Yeah.
So why not just start there and use that as a model? I mean, you'd have to change it because now you're hoping what you would get is like a series of 5 or 6 events where the same athletes would go every time and compete, and then like the top points getters would then go to the championship. So it wouldn't be like a regionally based thing because you want all your best athletes traveling, right?
Yeah, I think part of it too would come down to the conversations that you could have with any big backers on distribution, right? Like, could we potentially see, and this kind of goes back to some of the conversations that we were having with IMG back in 2019.
Yes.
When they were going to basically partner with like 7 to 8 of the sanctionals, and this would have actually made them more viable, right? Mm-hmm. Partner with 7 to 8 of the sanctionals and create this like live stream series, video storytelling series along the way through the season that they, as a massive company and has distribution all over the planet, they can actually sell that. Yeah. That may dictate what that penultimate stage would be. The semifinals, regionals, whatever. That may be more of like, hey, we need 9 events globally that we can sell and know that people are going to show up and watch. And that's how we're going to get our that may be a little bit more flexible for me.
Lauren, how would you do this? You're now Commissioner Khalil.
If I had a blank check,
Wednesdays we were
absolutely, and everybody has a sparkle fanny pack. That is essential to success, in my opinion. But I would want to get the heavy hitters of each region that I know competitions are going to perform well. So South America, Brazil, absolutely, there's going to be a competition there. Europe, like the French Throwdown, absolutely there's going to be a competition there. Maybe we even do 2 in Europe because we know that people are going to get tickets there. And I would honestly condense the US and force spectators, if you want to come watch this, you have one opportunity before the CrossFit Games or whatever you would call it. And I would try to expand more in South America and Europe.
Okay. But would it be, so what I guess what I'm saying is like how the season, how would that flow? Like, because what we're all used to now is it is sort of this funnel. We start the open, then we pare it down to the quarterfinals, and then we pare it down to the semis, and then the elite of the elite.
In this competitor season, I don't know that you need to include everybody like the open.
I don't think you do.
I think it's a real like your pro division.
I think the open has to be there just for money generation.
Yes, you got to have something where it's like this is how you earn your way on into these events.
But what I don't understand is why don't we do a hybrid system of what open and quarterfinals were? And I think we talked about this a little bit. Make the open like 4 weeks.
I missed the 5-week open. I love
the 5-week open. I get. And I know I've been on this show
as an affiliate owner. I understand.
I totally get it, but still, 5 weeks was awesome.
I mean, but people are
It
getting
is for us, but also like the general members. And again, I speak from my affiliate. I've been to Tommy's affiliate, and I think that the people at your affiliate would love a 5-week open.
100%.
The people at mine, I don't think so. But I don't think that the gym that I go to like bleeds the CrossFit culture that we all have.
But here's what you do, right? you sign up for the Open. You opt in for, if you qualify for quarterfinals, you opt in, right? You can check a box right away, or you don't. Maybe even save that one. But you have a 3-week Open. Maybe even make it 4 weeks, right? So 4 workouts. People feel like you can make that on the 5th week. 20% drop off.
Mm-hmm.
5th week, and then that 5th like hybrid 6th week, like those 2 weekends, they release 4 workouts that you got to get done then, and that's what gets you to live competition.
Yeah,
you have 8 workouts, 6 weekends total, and really for the majority of the population, you're only doing it for a month.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, and look, you're signing up for it, so you know what you're getting into. It's not like you're being forced to do it, but I have in the 6 years now that we've had since 2018, I have yet to, no one has convinced me that Open Regionals Games wasn't the best system that we had. Now I know for financial reasons why that had to change. I get that, but it wasn't broken. They fixed it.
Yeah.
And now if we go all online, I just don't know. Like I just feel like it's going to be like the people who are trying to put something who I'm assuming, I think there are people out there trying to put something together. They're going to come out of the woodwork pretty fast. Like, hey, guess what we have?
Guess what we've been developing? And you know what?
And CrossFit can still run their thing. Now they don't even have to run the games. They can be like, all right, fine. This other they're going to do a championship. We're just going to do an all online community event. And all it is going to be a moneymaker for us.
Do you think that they would ever surrender the games though?
I've said this before. I think what CrossFit should do is just license the season to somebody.
Yeah, I think that would be
they can run the Open,
idea.
Makes money for them. Whatever happens in between Open and games is someone else's business, and that company pays CrossFit a licensing fee to run it. In return, that company gets, they have to find a way to monetize it. They have to find a way to make money off of it, but they keep all those profits. And then
I don't even think someone who wanted to license it would give up the Open. Like, do you really need like CrossFit to run the Open?
Well, CrossFit wouldn't want to give that up because it makes money for them. Why would you have, like, that's a moneymaker for them. What happens after that isn't. So let's get rid of that and let someone else figure it out.
But I don't know, if you're like not running the season now and you're just licensing it out and for what, I don't know, let's throw a number out. $2 million?
Probably.
That's literally a $2 million net profit, right? Like, I mean, just right away for just licensing it out.
Mm-hmm.
That's not counting merchandise. You probably do a sweetheart deal with some advertising and media spots and media buys if they get like a major broadcast deal. That's probably more than you were making before.
What, CrossFit?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so that's what I'm saying. There's no risk. All they got to do is they just cash the check, let someone else worry about how to monetize it.
Yeah. So that's why I think the partner, any partner that would want to do that would want the Open money.
Well, they would want the Open money if they don't have a broadcast deal, like you were saying, in place. That's the key. They would need to get a broadcast deal, distribution, ticket money, all that. So who would do that? I mean, there's like, off the top of my head, I could think of like 6 or 7 people I could put in a room and they could probably figure out how to get it done.
Yeah.
But that is in a perfect world scenario where everybody agrees to work together. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I getting back to just the genesis of this whole conversation, the rumors of this online thing, like I would not be shocked if that's where we are heading. And then it's like, what happens after that? Like, to me, it just really opens the door for something else or someone else to try to jump into the space, because I don't think anybody's going to be happy with that decision to go all online.
I know. I try to think of who that would serve. Like, is there a scenario that actually has a benefit to the athletes? And
online?
Yeah.
Well, I think
financially, sure.
They don't have to pay to travel. They can do all the workouts in their gym at the time of their choosing. So that's right away. The athletes are saving money, but to your point, doesn't get them in front of an audience for sponsorship and things like that.
Right. Where's the storytelling? How do you learn about these athletes?
It just kind of depends. You'd have to get involved with these camps, and some of the athletes have their own people doing that already. But
yeah,
I'm kind of tossing around in my head whether or not like this really just is a not too big of a deal for the elites that are already established. They have their camera guy, their photographer, their channels, and the up and comers that, they don't have to pay money to travel, but they don't get that in-person exposure that like helps build.
I think of Yella Hosta, was it 2 years ago when he won the semifinal, the Toast Bar? What else was in it? I can like picture him in the lane, but that was the first time I really knew who he was. And I hadn't seen any media coverage of him before that. So you just think of like those opportunities that happen on a broadcast, happen on a live stream that would be a miss for a lot of these athletes that are up and coming.
We'd still cover it. Every outlet in the space would still cover it. Like they're still going to talk about it. We're still going to talk about the athletes like we do.
Absolutely.
At the Open,
but if there's no live coverage and there's no live events, and then the only way to consume what's happening is if the athletes have their YouTube videos on public, or if a training camp does a vlog, I mean, that just, you don't get the rawness of what's actually happening.
Yeah. I
think you start to lose viewership big time, right? Sports, like live sports, one of the few appointment television pieces we have left.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I don't think there's any doubt. Like it would, I don't think registration for the Open would be as much as it was last year. You'd probably see a dip in that. Yeah, but I think people would still do it because they just enjoy competing. But it's like, do we need to contract to survive? And I think that's probably what they're looking at right now. It's like, is that the smart decision? And I from like the standpoint from a fan,
contract to sell to not survive long term.
Yeah, well, that could be it too. But
survive short term.
I didn't get to see Tyler. He was talking about this on the barbell spin. I had to stop. I had to go do something else. But he was talking about like getting his notebook out after thinking about 20 minutes of how this could be good. And I'm like racking my brain. And the only way I can think is like they're going to let more people in. We'll let more people in because it's online now. So it's more of an opportunity for other people to compete farther into the season. And that's the only thing that I can think of.
Yeah. Are people asking for that? Look what happened when we let more people in at the games. It was a cluster.
Yeah, but I know, but online it doesn't really matter. As long as there's a
right. The people that benefits are the bubble athletes.
Yeah.
But the ones that actually are monetizing off of the sport and trying to help professionalize the sport suffer.
Well, and then it's like, here's the other thing too, that now that's popped in my head. If you let more people into semifinals, it's like that thing with quarterfinals where if you have one bad workout, it's not your 20th, you're now 75th. Because so many other people can get
videos before.
And well, that's not going to, we know that's never going to happen. So it's just,
I know. I'm just like, now we're adding on to all of the issues.
I don't know. Like, I just don't know where the silver lining with this is.
I want to believe that these are all just rumors and that at the very least,
right now,
the season structure stays the same.
But like I'm
going to hold on to that because I keep going back to that job posting, the opening.
Yes.
Maybe that's a sign of hope that things are going to be in person and everything's
But just follow,
fine.
like, again, just in the years, Tommy, when we were there from like 2012 to 2018, the trajectory of the games was up and to the right. Like every year, something got improved. Hey, we're doing this year. Hey, we're doing live. We're going to stream all the regionals live. We're going to have studio coverage that brings them all together. Like stuff kept getting added. And then it all got knocked down.
Kylo Ren meme. More.
And then ever since then, it has been down and to the right. We're taking things away. We're not covering it as much. So just follow that out to its logical conclusion. And this is where it leads you, is to eventually we're going to go, and maybe sooner rather than later. And I think what happened at the games may have been an accelerant in that process. And it would not shock me. And what's that phrase? There's a non-zero chance that it's all online next year.
Well, if you had to guess, what would you think the percentage chance is?
Now?
Yeah.
I think it's 50-50. Might even be higher. but I'm a pessimist sometimes. So
I was going to say, who pissed in your coffee this morning,
I'm just
Sean?
a pessimist. I'm sorry. I just I don't know. I just look at the trend. I just look at where things have been going the past couple of years. It's not like there was hope in 2021 when they really, went big with the games and it's like, okay, we're back. And there's like, nope. Just kidding.
JK.
Yeah.
I don't know.
50 is a lot. Yeah. And I feel bad that I don't necessarily disagree with you at that.
But
I'm going to lean more to it's going to go to a sanctionals model.
Like a hybrid model. I think that's probably more realistic. Like a hybrid.
Yeah. A hybrid.
I think that's probably, I think that would be in their best interest. That's like the best worst option.
Yeah. I hate that.
Oh God.
I hate that we're talking about this.
No, I know, but like I said, it's out there, and I'm going to go back and finish watching what Tyler and those guys are saying about it.
I feel like Bill the Butcher. My boy, look what they did to my boy.
Yes, but look, silver lining, opportunity for someone else to come in and try to do something else. And what that is, I don't know, but I do think people just want more live competition. They want a season that has live competition where athletes compete the athletes want that too. How many times you talk to Justin Kotler when he's on Death By? He's like, we need to get people in person. I don't like online. And no one does. I don't.
Which is coming back, by the way. We're just rebranding.
Yes.
If anybody was wondering,
it's coming back. So we're going to have a relaunch of that. Okay. Anything else we want to add to that conversation? I don't think we solved anything, but I just wanted to address it. No.
Pretty much it. Yeah.
All right. Community support. Any community support to get to?
I don't have any at the top, but I did get a, hold on. Actually, we do have one. Hold on, let me find it.
Because I got some PRs ready to go.
Oh yeah. I shared a post from the Belgrade Games. And I was also on our PDF one as well. So they're creating a memory wall that they want to share with the community. So if you have a photo with Lazar, you can send it to them on email at belgradegames2024@gmail.com. And they'll include your photo in the memorial wall. And they want to kind of build this tribute for him. So
that's awesome.
belgradegames2024@gmail.com. Which reminds me, Lauren, the one we had from the pre-games show, Stutters took. Was it Stutters who took it? He took a nice photo of us.
Yeah.
Can you send that to me? I want to make sure that we get.
Oh, that's cool.
So.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. PRs, no reps. I don't think I have any no reps, so I got a couple PRs.
I got some.
You got some no reps?
Let's hear them.
You got no rep? No rep.
So I am. Where the hell did it go? Just lost.
Oh, I can.
I'm gonna.
Oh, go ahead.
What?
No, I was gonna say I can no rep the Rams for even considering trading
Yikes.
Cooper Kupp, which probably is going to happen, but that just hurts my heart. So no rep. Go ahead.
That's brutal. I'm gonna no rep baby clothing tags.
Oh God, dude.
The tags? Why the tags?
The tags and like the little clear plasticky things that they use to attach like the price tag and secure things.
I know where you're going.
Apparently, like baby clothing, baby blankets, all these things like have a high rate of theft. So the way they do that is they try and like batten down the hatches on all of these things with like a million of those little clear plastic things that you got to cut and separate to like get them off the rack.
That is annoying.
My wife and I have probably cut a few hundred in the last couple of days, and there's no end in sight.
Oh my God.
My life is just spent cutting these things just to be able to get a singular blanket off of a Carter's baby rack.
Here's some advice for you. Any onesie or outfit you get that buttons up the middle, chuck that right now. Zippers.
Okay.
You don't want to be messing with buttons at 2 a.m. after you change a diaper and you're half awake. You just it's the worst. Get rid of the buttons.
Throw them out.
Get the zippers. Buttons are
YKK on my zipper.
Worthless.
Yeah, that's
I know.
All right.
Just don't. Those are a last resort. Keep those in the we're all out of clean zippers pile.
We've had multiple blowouts and we're losing. We're gaining water, sir.
Buttons is the worst. I can tell you how many times it's like, effing buttons. And and the kids, squirming everywhere, and you're trying to get these things zippers done.
Yep.
Lauren, no reps?
I'm going to no rep nightmares. 2 back-to-back nights, I've been in prison.
For what?
In my dreams.
What are you most likely to go to prison for?
So listen to how wild they are. For murder both times.
Fair enough.
The first one, but no, I was being wrongly accused. So the first one was I was watching somebody's dog, and the dog passed away on my watch, and they were accusing me of killing their dog. So I'm in this dream, like being taken out of jail to go to trial, and all of my friends are on trial saying what a good dog mom I am and how I would never kill a dog. And they're like, nope, you're guilty. You're going away. The second night, I actually murdered a human, and I was being accused of murdering the human, but I didn't actually murder the human. And in my dream, like, I don't know who it was, but they were saying that I did it, and I did not do it. So
okay,
I don't know, like, what's going on.
Moral of the story: don't make Lauren upset if you're in her vicinity.
I was gonna say, would they
soon.
cut you in line at TJ Maxx or something? With
I know. I'm like, who am I holding a grudge against? I don't know.
Yeah.
I gotta dig deep.
PRs.
Oh, speaking of nightmares. I'll PR Lauren for being a scary movie savage. I recommended a scary movie to her.
Mm-hmm.
It was not even a
Hereditary.
Little scary,
was it?
She was like, "It wasn't scary at all." And I'm like, "That movie scared the crap out of me." And she's like, "Yeah, there's
Tommy." If you didn't recommend it to me after 20 minutes, I would have shut the movie off.
Wow,
if I'm being
really?
totally
That's
honest.
not a strong endorsement.
Yeah, I was
like
just like waiting for it to get better, and it's
like one of the highest rated scary movies in like the last 10 years.
Want to know the movie that I was always scared of?
What?
E.T.
The Ring.
The Ring.
Oh, that one's terrible.
The Ring.
That one's good.
That freaks me out. And when she like comes out of the TV and like crawls really fast, gives me nightmares.
The scariest movie I think I've ever seen was The Exorcist 3. I watched it when I was 17 years old, and I slept with the lights on. That movie has so many scenes that are just.
I just pictured a molded Sean, cut off sleeves.
Oh, dude, it's pretty accurate. Just eyes wide open.
Puka shell necklace.
I don't think did I ever do that. That was after high school.
Yeah, it was after.
That would have been in the early 2000s. So I was on my professional way at that point.
You didn't wear that at the TV station.
No, I'm going to PR Tommy for his 400-pound back squat.
Let's go.
Damn.
First time ever, dude. 400 club.
You're getting that dad strength that's hitting you already.
Man, I'm not even 40
it's already
yet.
There. No, you're getting it.
What was your previous PR?
390-ish.
Damn, dude, that's awesome.
Oh, that's a good PR.
And I had more in the tank. It wasn't a true max out. But I just didn't have time. It was within the class programming, which is what I did. I do want to PR West Fitness programming and CrossFit West.
Good.
Our programming has been fantastic. I love it. We do a strength metcon variation 3 out of 4 4 out of 5 days. But our 430 class, I think like 10 or 11 people PR their back squat.
Damn, man. Well, I did 245 for 5 last night. That felt pretty good. That's the first time I squatted that heavy this year on the old knee. Dang. So that felt good. But nowhere near what Tommy's has done. And congratulations, man. That was
I was
awesome.
only the 5th heaviest squat in my class.
Sheesh. Got a bunch of pipe hitters walking around there.
I think we had 4 other people at 415 plus.
God damn.
Yeah, crazy.
I'll take weight. I'll never hit for 400, please, Alex.
Yeah.
I'm going to PR. I've been meaning to do this. I'm going to PR NoFX, the punk rock band that called it quits after 40 years of being the punk rock Rolling Stones. Man, had their final show. My brother actually got to go to it. They will be missed. I was lucky enough to have seen them a handful of times, and they're iconic. So all my favorite bands are calling it quits, man. It sucks. I'm at that age now where they're all just done. So
what's your favorite NoFX song?
Oh man. That's a hard one. You're putting me on the spot. I don't know.
They got some, man. I love punk rock song. The names of songs.
They got so many. Let me talk about something else. Let me effort that.
Do you have a PR, Lauren?
Yeah.
Speaking of PR and music, I'm going to PR Tommy because I'm still listening to his Spotify account because all of his playlists are so freaking good. So if you don't follow Tommy on Spotify, do yourself a favor. And Tommy Marquez, give him a follow, give him a like, listen to all his playlists. They're great.
Bangers of all genres.
I'll say this, War on Errorism. War on Errorism has a bunch of great songs on there. Separation of Church and Skate is really good for sure.
Nice.
Yeah. So anyway, PR are good to Fat Mike. And
I have one more PR.
All right.
And it's for the Capitola DMV. I'm going to call him the traffic cop. So I had a 20-minute DMV trip yesterday. PR for that.
Yeah, that is
20 minutes in and out. But there was a guy that was working there. And this is the Capitola DMV, so it's the main DMV for the greater city of Santa Cruz area, which you're going to get some characters anytime you go into the DMV, but Santa Cruz especially. And you walk in, you either in the appointment line or the non-appointment line. And it all led to one guy. And this dude was wheeling and dealing. He might be the most efficient government employee on the planet.
Wow. That is
okay.
I was so impressed because he did it in multiple languages too. He was helping people left and right. What do you need? What are you here for? You need this form. You need that. You're going to need to do this. Here's your number. Here's how you do this. Boom, boom, boom. Yada, yada, yada. Done. I walked in. He hands me, he's like, what are you here for? You have this, this, and this. Yep. You're going to go here. You're going to go here. Have a nice day, sir. Cracks a joke to the guy behind me as I'm walking away. And I'm like, this guy is this is the mayor of the DMV. And I watched him chew. The line when I got there was probably like 4 to 5 people out the door. And I watched him chew through that line.
Man.
And just reduce it to nothing. I was so impressed.
Not all heroes wear capes. Thank you for your service, sir.
Yep. That guy I was just like, I walked out and I was just like, you have a good day, sir. You have a good day. Keep doing you.
Nice.
So,
okay. Well, we got to let Lauren get to sleep because I know she's probably already dosed up on the Thirdzy and ready to pass out. Got a lot of good stuff coming in the coming weeks. We're going to have Mitch Hooper, strongman Mitch Hooper on and efforting some other athletes that we're going to talk to getting ready for the Rogue Invitational. So stay tuned for that. Also, like Lauren said, the show formerly known as Death By will be returning soon. So we'll keep you posted on that as well. Please check out our sponsors, Creatures of Habit, creaturesofhabit.com. Code is TEF. You'll save 20%. And Thirdzy, Thirdzy.com. That's Thirdzy with a Z, Thirdzy.com. TEF is also the code, 20% there as well. That's going to do it for today. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Thanks for listening. For Lauren Khalil and Tommy Marquez, I'm Sean Woodland. Take care of each other. Be better. Don't murder dogs and wind up in sleep jail.
I hope I don't have another one tonight.
We'll talk to you guys next time.
Guaranteed.
Oh, who am I going to kill this time?
Like a kiss at the start of a first date. If it's good, I don't want to wait. When the feeling's right, I'm taking